Okay, we're going to look at 6.1 parabolas. We're going to look at this one example that we have below here. We're asked to find the vertex, focus, and the directrix, and then graph it. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is we want to put in the correct form, so we're going to complete the square. So let's do that first. So again, we want it to look like this so that we can actually identify a lot of the information from that. So what we're going to do is complete the square. So I'm going to get the y's by themselves on one side of the equation and then bring everything else to the other side of the equation. Okay, so I'm going to add 4x to each side and subtract 16 from each side. Okay, now I'm going to complete the square on the left-hand side. So I'm going to take half of 4 and divide by 2. Okay, so if I do that, 4 divided by 2 is 2, and if I square that, that gives me 4. So I'm going to add 4 to this side, so I have to add 4 to the other side as well. So this is what I have so far. So on the left-hand side, if I complete the square, I get y plus 2 squared is equal to 4x, and if I combine the negative 16 and the 4 together, I get minus 12. Okay, now to complete this, on the right-hand side, I'm going to factor out a 4. And this is what I get. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to compare this equation right here with the equation I have here above. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to identify the vertex. If you look at the vertex is h, which would be 3. Okay, and then k. So if you look here, it has minus k. Since we have a plus 2, our k would be negative 2. So vertex is 3, negative 2. Okay, let's identify a couple other things that they ask us to do. We found the vertex. Now let's find the focus. The first thing we do to find the focus is we need to identify P. So let me erase this first so I have more room. Okay. If you look on the right-hand side, we have 4 times P. If we look over here, we can tell that P must be equal to 1. Okay. Since P is equal to 1, then we can go ahead and find the focus. The focus is H plus P, so I'm going to take 3 plus 1. So in this case, again, this is my H, this is my P, so 3 plus 1 gives me 4. And then my K stays the same, negative 2. Okay, so that'd be my focus. Okay, the last thing I need to do, well, the second to the last thing I need to do before I graph it, I guess, is I want to find my directrix. The directrix is x is equal to h minus p. I'm going to have to write that down here because I'm running out of room. Okay, my directrix is x is equal to h minus p. My h again was 3, and my p is 1. So I'm going to take 3, subtract 1 from that, and I get 2. So there's my directrix. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this information to graph my parabola. So I'm going to rewrite all this information as I move down, because everything will clear out, and then we'll actually graph our parabola. Since P is positive, we know that it will be opening up to the right. If P was negative, it would open up to the left. So that's another thing we want to keep in mind. Okay, so let's go ahead and get ready to graph it. Okay, and then I'm going to move down here. Okay, there we go. Okay, that's much better. Okay, let me go ahead and write down the information that we had down earlier. Okay, we had the vertex. The vertex, again, was 3, negative 2. Let's go ahead and plot that. So I go over 3 and down 2. Okay, so there's my vertex. I know that it opens to the right. And we know that because P is 1, which is positive. Okay, I'm also going to identify the focus. We found this earlier. I'm just going to rewrite it. The focus, if you recall, was 4, -2. Okay, so let's go ahead and plot that while we're here. Okay, so that's right there. And then finally, the directrix. The directrix is x is equal to 2. Okay, so let me go ahead and graph that here. Okay, it's supposed to be a straight line. I don't have a perfect line up there, but it should be a straight line. Okay, now let's go ahead and graph a parabola. I'm going to graph it in green. This is my vertex that opens to the right, so it should look roughly like this. I may want to pick other points to get a better example of the graph, but there's a rough estimate of my graph. So again, here's my vertex, and then here's my focus right there. Okay, so that concludes this worksheet.